Hello, all you Noblego fans. I'm Avo Uvezian, talking about my cigar. I was born in Beirut, Lebanon, of Armenian parents in 1926, almost 100 years ago. No, well, anyway, here I am on my 87th birthday, talking again after many visits into Germany during the last 25 years, talking about my cigars, the Avo cigars that is distributed by Davidoff. Well, my story, I was, as I said, born in Beirut, Lebanon. At the age of 4, I started playing piano because my father was a Kapellmeister who had studied in Leipzig, and I was I had to play piano because I enjoyed it. And at the age of 16, unfortunately, my father passed away, and I was father of my family, my mother and 2 sisters. I made my own band, the Little Liban Boys, to support the family while I was going to university, playing piano at noon at night, studying in Lebanon, in Beirut. And at one time, I received a record from my aunt who lived in New York. It was about a jazz record of Fats Waller playing Ain't Misbehavin', the record. I enjoyed the music, even though my education was classical music, but when I started imitating and trying to play jazz, which was something new for me, and my father said, "What are you playing?" I said, "Dad, they say this is jazz." He was classical, of course, and he said, "But if you like it, do it well." I remember, do whatever you do, try to do it well. That's how I started. And then after, when I used to play in Lebanon, we had a lot of possibility to play because Lebanon was a touristic place for all the people from Middle East and also Europe, a beautiful country. But one time we didn't have enough jobs in the winter time because the hotels were closed, so we had a contract to play in Baghdad, and we decided with my little band to go to play in Baghdad because we had seen the movie Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, and we said, hey, we're gonna go to Baghdad and see the Golden Minaret. We went to Baghdad by bus from Damascus to Baghdad through the desert. And later on, when I write a story about my life, I will tell a lot of things that happened, but to make long story short, from Baghdad, we had a contract also after 1 year to play in Tehran, Iran. And when we went there in 1947, right after World War II, my band was the first band visiting Tehran after 1 month playing in Tehran. We were invited to play at the Shah Palace, Shah Reza Pahlavi. At that time, of course, being Armenian, speaking Armenian, Arabic, French, English, I also had learned German from musicians who were playing in my band once in Beirut. And after 2 months in Tehran, because I spoke Arabic and Turkish, I could speak Farsi. And the reason I'm saying this, when we were invited at the palace, the Shah sent his majordomo, who was a Swiss guy. He asked me if the Shah wants to talk to you in English or French. I said, no, he can talk Farsi with me. And the Shah said, I'm surprised in 2 months you talk. You Armenians are clever people. Well, I said, thank you. And we started playing, and they were playing, we were playing a jazz song, In the Mood, and they were trying to dance. Shah Reza and his first wife, Soraya, the invitation at the palace was for the immediate friends of the Shah. And at the age of 21, not knowing anything about protocol, I said, that's not the way you dance jitterbug. And Soraya said, come up and show me. I got up and danced, and that broke the ice, and then when the Shah found out that I can speak many languages and I also played the music, we were always invited to play in diplomatic dinners, affairs. And after a great time in Tehran, I asked the Shah that I really wanted to go to the United States to study more music, but I didn't have a visa. Being born in Lebanon, it was difficult to get a visa to visit United States, but with the Shah, with few telephone calls, in 2 weeks I had my visa. I came to the States. I lived in New York with my aunt, my mother's twin sister, went to Juilliard music school, and that's how I lived in New York. And then I got married, and my first wife was also Armenian, both in New York, but she was smoking cigarettes every morning, every noon. After 24 years of marriage, from smoking cigarettes, and after giving me 3 boys, she died. So I said, well, I'm gonna live in New York. I left New York, I went to Puerto Rico, where I started playing my life again, piano, and then one day a fellow comes visiting me in the resort in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and he said to me in his British accent, you and I have something in common. I said, it's not the accent. What is it? He said, I'm half Armenian, half Swiss. I said, oh, very good to meet you. We became friendly, and when I was in Puerto Rico, after 1 year, I remarried there, and after 3 boys, my beautiful daughter was born, which changed my life. And then he said, let's bring the daughter to Geneva, where we'll make the christening. We did that. We went, and after the christening, my friend, whose name is Jack Melkonian, he said, let's go at the dinner after the christening. He said, let's smoke a cigar. Well, at that time, as I said, I never smoked cigarette, but I used to smoke pipe for a few years. And then we tried our first cigars there. I remember that those 2 cigars, when the restaurant bill came, each cigar was about $25. When you're half Armenian, half Swiss, and you pay $25 for a cigar, something hurts. And he said, Avo, why don't you make cigars? You're in Puerto Rico. I said, well, let me try. I am a widow. You tell me something to do, I try to do it. I went to Puerto Rico, and I found that the closest place where there was tobacco was the Dominican Republic. That's how I used to travel from Puerto Rico to Dominican Republic to make cigars. And this was on my own. Musicians. I didn't have money, a lot of money, but I used to spend money traveling. And my Puerto Rican conservative wife said, Avo, you're spending all the money. We have a daughter. I said, don't worry, I have to do something in life. I will try. So after I visited our factory, Mr. Henry Kellner, who was the president, he made cigars for me, and they made about 12 cigar samples. I tested them, and after I went back, after 1 month, I sat down with the master blender, whose name is Eladio Diaz, and we decided that the first one that I'm gonna enjoy. The one I like of the 12 was the Avo Classic, which is this cigar. That's how the Avo line started. And we made that cigar, and then I would bring one box to my piano. And after 1 year from my piano in this resort where a lot of people used to come, I'd give them cigars, they'd go home, they'd call me, please send us some more cigars. And in 1 year, from my piano, I sold about 20,000 cigars. And I realized that by putting one box of cigars, I made 3 times my salary of playing piano. I said, this is a good business. And at that time, when Davidoff had opened their first shop in New York, I sent them some samples, 12 boxes. It seems that a couple of people who smoked it bought the 12 boxes, and they said, send us some more. Okay, I sent some more. And after I realized that they keep asking more, we had a meeting, we decided, I said, I'll give you exclusive distribution in the US because I don't have a company, I don't have sales organization. I gave exclusive distribution to Davidoff. In 1 year, they sold 125,000 cigars. And after 4 years, when it went to 750,000, Dr. Schneider, president of Davidoff, said, we want to buy your brand. I said, that's fine, as long as we have the same philosophy of business. For me, quality in what I do is the most important thing. And the same thing with Davidoff. We had a good meeting. We made a good contract where now the name belongs to Davidoff, but that cigar has my name, and I still am involved all the time doing the blends and deciding what cigars. And that's how our relationship started. And now my wife was happy because suddenly we're making a good business, and my agreement with Davidoff that they own the name, but on every cigar I still get a royalty until I die on my cigar. So I'm very glad that in a moment, this is my story. And then at the age of 75, I decided to make a limited edition for that year. It was a big hit. It was the first Avo 75th anniversary, and since then every year we make a limited edition. Also in my many visits, yearly visits, 2 or 3 times a year, on my birthday, March 22, we'd come to Europe to do presentation of my cigars. After I did a tour in the US, I'd come back to Europe to do the presentation in Switzerland, Germany. Also in Switzerland, but they started 13 years ago to do an Avo session because my life is music and cigars. So that Avo session was every year until last year, which was the last. And that was all available on the Noblego line. Keep smoking the Noblego cigars and enjoy life.